Dear Minister, distinguished guests and speakers, dear colleagues, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to address you briefly in such a timely and interesting discussion. Unfortunately, I cannot join you physically in Lisbon this time, as I will be joining the 90th Interpol General Assembly taking place in New Delhi. However, it's a pleasure to contribute with Europol's views, even if remotely. The success of EU law enforcement relies on the trust of the public in its police forces, on policing with and within communities. The main role of Europol is to support national law enforcement authorities in investigations of transnational, serious and organized crime and terrorism. Europol functions differ from national police forces. Europol does not police on the ground and does not have executive powers. The key support Europol provides is the cross-checking and processing of criminal information to perform operational and strategic analysis in order to identify or confirm investigative leads. We also provide other support, such as forensic analysis of digital devices or online investigations and prevention, such as the referral of terrorist propaganda by the EU Internet Referral Unit. Nowadays, we observe that society and police forces face growing challenges due to the increasingly complex societal environments, which are characterized by aspects of radicalization, fragmentation, disinformation and violence, including against police officers in their professional and private life. This makes police action even more difficult, as the police is often working in the front line to deal with challenging situations. On the 4th and the 5th October, Europol hosted the European Police Chiefs Convention. One key concern from several European police chiefs is precisely this unprecedented increase in violence. In December 2021, Europol published the use of violence by organized crime groups. This document is publicly available on our website. In recent years, drug-related conflicts have resulted in public shootings, bombings, kidnappings, torture and intimidation. Cocaine and cannabis markets have attracted new drug-trading organized crime, resulting in intensified competition and violence. Connected with that, intimidation takes place for several reasons that may, in singular cases, also target judicial or law enforcement personnel. This is a perceived increase in the level of violence employed as part of serious and organized crime activities in the EU, both in terms of frequency and severity. The nature of the violence also appears to have changed with a growing number of criminal networks using violence in a more offensive way. The commission of violent acts as a service is increasingly offered by criminals, at times for very low prices. Shootings and bombings perpetrated in public places pose a serious risk to bystanders and have a significant detrimental impact on the public perception of crime. The types of weapons used to perpetrate violence varies. Criminals often resort to the use of firearms against competitors or law enforcement to evade apprehension. The criminal activities most commonly associated with violent acts include drug trafficking, migrant smuggling, extortion and racketeering, and organized property crime. In this context, Europol considers the use of violence as one of the risk indicators that define the profile of high-value targets and supports Member States' efforts to counter organized crime and mitigate the threat to life through the establishment of operational task forces. Data collected from recent high-level operations intercepting criminal encrypted communications across several platforms is telling in this regard. The information has provided law enforcement agencies with a unique global view of the activities of high-risk organized crime groups, particularly in drug trafficking, but also in the use of violence. Hundreds of serious violent crimes, including also homicides and threat to life incidents, were detected and are prevented. Intelligence from these investigations helped many countries to solve homicides and prosecute perpetrators, facilitators and instigators. Just as an example, one investigation involved shipping containers detected in the Netherlands that had been converted into cells to be used as torture chambers. To conclude, I would like to focus on 3 key points from Europol's perspective. First is about reducing vulnerabilities. Criminal networks are highly responsive to law enforcement intervention and increased controls. The more law enforcement disrupts criminal activities, the more organized crime finds new methods to achieve its goals. Enabling private solutions for problems in the public sector is another avenue to reduce vulnerabilities. This is not new, but we must proactively engage with the private actors in drugs trafficking, such as port authorities or maritime shipping companies. We need to scale up these partnerships at a more centralized and international level. Europol can also help in this area. Second is maximizing the impact. We must systematically prioritize investigations against high-value targets which pose the highest risk. We need to work in the framework of operational task forces, which have proven an invaluable tool in organizing some of the most complex and ambitious investigations at European level yet. The establishment of regional OTFs has already proven to be an effective operating model. Member States could maximize the potential of OTFs in regions that are particularly vulnerable to criminal activities. Europol stands ready to support the national competent authorities in the ever-complex fight against organized crime and terrorism. Third is about international cooperation. This may seem obvious to some of you, but it is not. Nothing is certain as regards international police cooperation. There are high-profile investigations where international cooperation remains limited. In the fight against organized crime, it is more important than ever that operational and actionable information is exchanged in real time. It is a key element of an effective criminal investigation. We need to adapt our frameworks and policies to the realities of the operating environment of cross-border organized crime in the EU and globally. Member States could provide feedback to Europol on the results of national investigations related to high-value targets and operational task forces in order to develop accurate intelligence picture, monitor the effectiveness of joint investigative actions and to identify development needs. I wish you success in your endeavours and in keeping our law enforcement community strong and equipped with the right tools and safeguards to fulfill their role. Thank you.